Thanksgiving is almost upon us. This holiday invokes imagery of kind-hearted Native Americans and peaceful New England settlers joining together in a feast of friendship and camaraderie. But that wasn't exactly what happened. Miseducation of young students leads to a widely believed false historical event in the celebration of something fictional. NKU faculty member Eric Bates discussed how what he calls the Thanksgiving myth begins in the classroom.
Some people think that kids can't handle the true story. So instead of can't handle it, if they can't handle it, then we try to romanticize it in a lot of ways and try to, make it more, I guess, palpable for them to understand it. But I think kids can handle the truth. And I think when you look at things critically, so if you look at from a critical historical perspective or maybe a critical anthropological perspective, that sometimes getting to the truth, it really hurts.
Currently, there are 574 federally recognized Native American nations, tribes, or communities, with more state recognized and even more fighting for recognition. Prior to the European invasion, there were nearly 600 million indigenous peoples in North America. Now the population is around 6.79 million, and the numbers are continuously diminishing. False narratives like the Thanksgiving story we are all taught play a part in erasing the true history of indigenous groups in North America.
Because I think a lot of people look at Plymouth and they look at the Pilgrims as like this first initial contact with non-natives and native people, but that's just not true. I mean, native people had been exposed to non-Indians for quite a long time before the Pilgrims even landed in Plymouth.
Guy Jones, who grew up on the Standing Rock Reservation in South Dakota and is a member of the Hunkpapa Lakota Nation, explains how Native Americans and settlers interacted and why the Thanksgiving story is such a misrepresentation.
Because most of what we know today in regards to Thanksgiving is basically it's a story, and there's very little truth to it. And I mean, it's based on a time when, that traditionally Native people, we've always been very giving. You perpetuate certain ideologies. And that's one of the things is this Thanksgiving is to change that narrative in a sense that, that this was the way it was in the beginning. And it's like, and no, the reality is that the Native people when they would bury their dead, they would put food in with them for their journey. And these individuals who came to these lands were robbing the graves and stealing from the dead. And the Native people took pity on them and brought them food.
Both Jones and Bates suggest staying educated and having conversations about the history of indigenous groups in North America. Take time to know your neighbors this Thanksgiving.